I was talking about the issues of disasters. I've seen humanoid robots being trained to respond to disasters. So if you have people in the let's say for the fire service, for instance, and you have a humanoid robot that can actually move closer to quell any fire outbreak somewhere than humans can, then you can push the humanoid robot to go further and be able to do that while the humans control the system. And once it's been able to quell a certain area where human can be deployed, then human can go there. We're preventing loss of lives in that area. We talked about the military as well. It can help as well. So it can it can help the security issues that we're facing in Nigeria. We can have humanoid robots. That's a tech area that we can also exploit to and explore to solve our security challenges. Look at the forest guards that have been said to have been deployed in Nigeria. I think 150 or so has been deployed to different forests in the country. How about we have humanoid robots that can power themselves day and night, 24/7, just go into those bushes, identify them, maybe not fire, because we don't. I'm just saying what we can benefit. What we can benefit. That's why I'm saying we should start from now. Now that this thing is still in the development stage, we're still seeing how it can be. When we look at some of the videos, some of them are falling down, some of them are higher than the other. There was a marathon race that was organized a few weeks ago in China, and we saw a lot of humanoid robots running, and I mean there was one of the robots that won eventually, but we saw all of that. Yeah, but because I'm interested in what it can do. I am very averse to I'm very concerned about technology and how it affects human lives, but when I see things that the benefit actually is vast, I think that we should begin to look into that. The science and tech industry in Nigeria need to begin to look at how can we ensure that we are cooperating. Even if we can't build, let us see how we can assemble it in our country, make it cheaper, make it affordable. If you have it in your own house, I want to get home someday and have a humanoid robot to cook for me at home and just serve me tea. I mean, I'm a bachelor. I go home at night and try to prepare for myself food and whatever I want to do. If it's affordable, that's what I'm saying. In the long run, in the 2050s or 2030s or 2040s, 2040s, these are things that we want to see, make affordable and available to ordinary people. While there are challenges, there are people that might want to program it to target other human beings, to commit crime, to commit theft, to commit things that are against the law. Those are places where I think the government then needs to bring in regulation. But if we're not looking at it right now, we will just be caught off guard when other countries begin to use it better than we are. And when we're talking about it, that it's taking jobs away from us, other countries are using it. They're creating more, having more output and selling to us here. So we don't have the job, we don't have the people to do it, we don't have the capacity, we don't have the industry, but they are employing those robotic technology in their own countries. They are producing it, and everything we don't have here that we say don't bring it is going to affect us. We're going to those countries where they have those outputs to come and buy and sell in this country. So I mean, we're going to be shooting ourselves in the foot if we if we don't take it very seriously. But that's what much we can take today on the headlines. It's been an important and interesting conversation. Let's take a recap of the stories that we touched. IGP set to set up panel to propose framework for state police. African supply chain under strain from Middle East conflict, says RAMAPHOSA. And lastly, World Humanoid Robots Games open in Beijing. We'll go on a quick break now. When we return, we're going to go into the discussion segment, and our senior in-house analyst will be joining us to dissect the important topic we have for you this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Number 6, 6G networks and beyond. 5G is still rolling out worldwide, but work on 6G is already in motion. South Korea, Japan, and Finland are leading trials, with commercial deployment expected around 2030. 6G aims to use terahertz frequencies to deliver speeds up to 100 times faster than 5G and latency as low as 100 microseconds. That's fast enough to support real-time holograms, autonomous fleets, and massive IoT ecosystems. The ITU has begun setting 6G standards, while companies like Nokia and Samsung are actively developing hardware. By 2026, early 6G pilots will give us a glimpse of the post-5G world. Number 5. Space-based internet and satellite mega constellations. Getting online anywhere on Earth is becoming a reality. SpaceX's Starlink already has over 6,000 satellites in orbit, serving more than 3 million subscribers as of mid-2025. OneWeb, Amazon's Project Kuiper, and China's Huawei constellation are racing to expand coverage too. These networks are targeting rural areas, disaster zones, and developing countries where laying fiber is too costly. But they also raise new challenges, like orbital congestion and light pollution affecting astronomy. By 2026, satellite internet will be more than a backup to manage crowd flow and logistics. Analysts at Deloitte predict that by 2026, nearly 70% of large industrial companies will use digital twins in some form, making them a core part of operations. Number 7. Nanotechnology in medicine and electronics. When you shrink technology down to the nanoscale, you open up whole new possibilities. In medicine, researchers are exploring nanoparticles that deliver chemotherapy drugs directly to tumors, reducing side effects. MIT and Brigham and Women's Hospital have developed nanosensors that can detect cancer biomarkers in blood. In electronics, nanoscale transistors are already pushing Moore's law further, with IBM unveiling a 2-nanometer chip in 2021 that promises major gains in performance and energy efficiency. The global nanotechnology market is projected to surpass $250 billion by 2030, showing just how central this field is becoming. Number 8. Self-healing materials. Materials that repair themselves aren't just science fiction anymore. Researchers at the University of Manchester developed a self-healing aerospace material that can autonomously patch small cracks in aircraft components. In 2023, LG Chem showcased self-healing coatings that restore scratches on car surfaces within minutes under heat. The potential extends to consumer electronics, where cracked phone screens may eventually fix themselves without a trip to the repair shop. Markets estimates the self-healing materials industry could grow to over $4 billion by 2027, with applications in automotive, aerospace, and infrastructure leading the way. Number 9. Hyper-personalized AI tutors and education tech. Education is going through a shift similar to what we've seen in entertainment and shopping. Hyper-personalization. Instead of one-size-fits-all lessons, AI tutors adapt in real time to how a student learns. Khan Academy launched Khanmigo, an AI-powered guide that helps students with math, science, and coding, while also assisting teachers with lesson planning. Duolingo uses AI to personalize language lessons, serving over 80 million monthly users worldwide. Global Market Insights projects that the AI and education market could surpass $30 billion by 2032. By 2026, AI tutors may become as common as textbooks once were. Number 10.
Welcome back. You're still on Idea Morning Digest on Idea Television. Now to the discussion segment. The federal government of Nigeria imposes 6-year ban on new tertiary education. So good morning to you this morning, to viewers all around the world. And our conversation this morning is on Nigeria education sector. For millions of young Nigerians, gaining admission into a university, polytechnic, or college of education represents a pathway to opportunity, economic growth, and national development. But despite the rapid expansion of tertiary institutions across the country, access to higher education remains severely limited. Now, the federal government of Nigeria has announced a 6-year ban on the establishment of new universities, polytechnics, and other colleges of education. The decision was approved at the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. According to the Minister of Education, Tuji Alaosa, the temporary freeze is meant to strengthen quality and ensure the financial sustainability of existing institutions, particularly private universities that may be struggling to operate effectively. Let's look at the numbers. Last year, more than 2.3 million candidates applied for university admission through JAMB, that's the Joint Admission Matriculation Board. Yet, fewer than 228,000 secured placements in public universities. At the same time, Nigeria already has over 300 universities, including many newly approved institutions in recent years. Alongside this decision, the Federal Executive Council also restored the National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult and Non-Formal Education to full independent status with a mandate to tackle the country's alarming literacy challenge, estimated at over 50 million adults who cannot read or write. But now the question is this: is Nigeria's education challenge really about the number of universities or about the quality, access and literacy foundations of the system itself? Is the 6-year ban a necessary reset for Nigeria's education sector, or a policy that could further limit opportunities for millions seeking higher education? Well, we're going to be unpacking this morning. It's this morning with your senior in-house analyst, Chris Ejiofo, who is right here with us in the studio, is going to be looking at the real challenge that may lie in the three interconnected issues, which are the weak primary and secondary education system, poor funding and infrastructure across existing university, and a rapidly growing youth population seeking higher education opportunities. Good morning, Engineer Chris. It's good to see you.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Fine.
Yeah, good to see you. It's been a while.
That's good.
We're good to have you on board. Looking at the conversation this morning, it falls on the education sector. I know you have extensive expertise and experience in this, and you have children as well who have gone to universities and experiencing this. But you say that the federal government has put a 6-year ban on the establishment of new universities or new higher form of education institution in the country. What's your initial reaction to that remark?
My reaction to it is that, for me, it's good. And it's the 6-year ban. So let us look inwards and see how to make sure that the existing ones function properly. So, because what we are talking about now is quality education. You understand? Quality education, not just because if you travel wide in Nigeria today, you see some signposts of universities not yet opened. There was a signpost there. You understand? There was university of this, university of that, mostly private universities who are yet to start functioning. You understand? So the idea of them, and some that are functioning don't have the requisite infrastructure and in terms of manpower for educating the young ones. So for me, I think it's a good idea that we have to. There should be a temporary ban while we're looking was to make sure that the existing ones function adequately.
Indeed, existing ones should function adequately, but when we look at the provision from the budgetary allocation to education and some other dilapidated infrastructure that we have across our Nigerian, even public universities, we've talked about the private one, but let's even talk about the one that are run by state and federal government in Nigeria. There are no adequate facilities. I remember when I was in school, we had to move from one hall to another hall just to be able to, for lectures, or even the quality of education that we're receiving, we're seeing that it's not responsive or responsible to the needs that we have today. So in terms of infrastructure deficits and in terms of the curriculum or the curriculum in Nigeria, is it actually geared towards the needs of the country? Because we see countries like China, they focus on some part of the education system is focused heavily on the technical skills and competency so that they can be deployed in factories and facility and industries that need to get people to work. So if we're building an industrialized nation and then we're just churning out lawyers, churning out doctors and churning out people who at the end of the day do not have access to practicalize what they've studied. So what's the problem? Because it seems we're in a conundrum right now. Are they focused on solving this challenge of infrastructure and also the curriculum and the structure of the system?
Actually, the schools we have presently, the university system and the higher institution generally, they need to be streamlined. Just like what you said, need to be streamlined so to factor in our national needs when it comes to technical education and whatever, just like you said. Because it's not the infrastructure deficit is there right from time. During our time, the same thing. I don't remember, I mean, I mentioned in school, but at least in Lagos there, Federal University. We will do. In the science, imagine someone doing science. The prison for doing practical, the block prison is not there. They're all cracked. You leave there to go to chemistry class, from chemistry to engineering class. It's called that you don't have the adequate requisite equipment for it to carry out practical. So it has been there. You understand? It shows that our system seems not to be growing.
So isn't that what they should focus on more, rather than banning?
Yes. In short, the budgetary allocation for education should be increased. You understand? Should be increased. I understand, but the only thing that we have a lot of things, a lot of national interest as is competing with education. A lot of that, you understand? We have insecurity now. Because most of our budget now goes for insecurity purposes, to make sure that our security agencies are well equipped to face the challenges presently we have now. So those will now create a deficit in other sectors of our economy, like education. Understand? But then you must find a way to strike a balance to make sure these things are working. Understand? The university system needs to be streamlined. Understand? You don't idea. You see, like most schools now, even Ghana is practicing it now. You don't have people going to do business admin, lawyers competing with the technical areas where the manpower, we have a lack of manpower. You understand? For example, there was time, I think about many years ago, there was an administration that was trying to say, I think that should be Jonathan administration, want to streamline that there are schools that concentrate in production of higher engineers, you understand, related courses in engineering, and the other one could focus on other like science, arts, understand. So it's meant to make sure that not today you can see some schools that are more or less that have a foundation for art science, what they call humanities, delving into engineering. And all these things are, I think, I blame NUC, National University Commission. They're supposed to oversee the curriculum and the other things of the most universities. Because most of the institutions are streamlined to a particular field. Understand? So you're chalking out graduates based on these areas, not question of you are doing people are doing accountancy, some other students are doing these things. Make sure that you have these schools purely carved out for these particular areas, and that's how it's supposed to be, rather than this is. Then from that you're able to make sure that you are deficit in other areas, national interest are solved by allowing schools to focus on a particular area of education. I think that is what they need to be doing now. And then the issue of budgetary for education should be looked at, possibly increase, because you cannot have if you have an economy whereby you don't have education is lacking, the educational sector is lacking based on infrastructural deficit and human efficiencies lacking those areas. You don't produce a quality national interest and economy for growth.
Indeed, if you look at the numbers right now, according to the data that we just read out, about 300 universities are established in Nigeria, those that are operating and those that have also been licensed to operate in the country. And last year alone, 2.3 million Nigerians registered to write the UTME exam organized by the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, that is JAMB. And out of that 2.3 million Nigerians, only 228,000 of them were able to get a placement into Nigerian universities. Some would be given even courses that they do not like. So there are some of those that even reject those admission or courses that have been given to them. So if we juxtapose that with the growing youth population that we have in the country, there was a time that they said we're breeding in millions of children compared to the entire continent of Europe. Nigeria alone has more babies compared to that. So all this will going to also grow to strain the educational sector. So if we look at our youth population right now, in contrast with the facilities that we have is a growing population a problem, because other countries I've seen are looking forward to improve their own birth rates, while Nigeria is thinking about how can we slow it down right now. So because it seems we're in a conundrum right now. We have a growing population which we think we deserve, we need to boost our own economic development, but we do not have the necessary education sector that will also train these people to become responsible citizens in the society.
It all boils down to what they call national planning. Our national planning sector, or those who are in charge of our national planning when it comes to policy making, I think they are lacking. When when you look at the growing population of youths and the interest to acquire basic education and maybe proceed further to higher institution, which is the right of the modern generation to do that, to acquire knowledge. But then the system is not providing such opportunities that makes them like, okay, we are looking at about 2.3 million. Then only about 288 or what?
200.
Then something like that. Getting admission. That's the left. What happened? And then that's where the areas of policy comes in. Because I remember, was it in the last administration, where for the first time, JAMB was remitting money in terms of about 30 billion. The government cannot be interested in what all these bodies are remitting. You are not. Most of these agencies are not there to make money.
Make money.
You understand? So when you are expecting that you are make money, JAMB comes to make money. That's out of it. It's not. That's not how you grow the economy. Understand? The problem is that we should see it as a corporate social service, an entitlement for the youth of the generation of this nation, making sure that they are actually. There's a place for them, even after schooling. You understand? You come to play, you are planning, you're talking about the population. What is the population of Nigeria? Yes, the population, I agree.
Do we even know the exact?
When did we do national census?
Was it like 2006 for the last?
Since then, for the past, the gym has been planning how to do census. But then, since then, up to now, none. So it boils down that you don't know your population, and as such, you cannot economically plan. Because you must plan based on the growing population, putting a lot of factors into your national economic growth. And then, so if you plan for such, your education must be planned. The number of youth that you are producing. I agree. I think it has come to a stage where we should even limit the number of children we have in this country. Yeah,
is that a feasible?
no, there's a way to do it. You understand? Even a way to look at what is happening. I think in the last, let me say, from about in the past 10 years now, it's gone at. The economy is no longer encouraging for people to have more babies.
But that's not even a challenge for the country. That's the economy would be a reason, because if most of we are suffering, that's why you cannot have more babies. While we are hoping to make people's life better. So if the government do then make people's life better, that means they then go back to having more babies. So what's the challenge? But let's go back to the conversation. Even for private universities right now, we see that a lot of them are not adequately being run when it comes to financial stability for them. That's on one hand. On the other hand, we also look at the quality of education that they are getting in those private universities. Most private universities in Nigeria are now seen as a place where admission is easily gotten, where people can go there and buy your way out of it. Lecturers have to make everybody pass because your parents are paid 5 million naira for a semester or paid 10 million naira per semester, compared to hundreds of thousands that are being paid in public universities. So you must pass at the end of the day. So let's look at that, because I know somebody who I don't want to go into the story because I don't want to expose anybody. But there's a university where even the project that they are writing, their supervisor is calling somebody, go and help this boy write his project. He doesn't know what he's doing. Not that it doesn't happen in public universities as well. But the quality of education that is being given, what's the regulatory oversight doing to ensure that they get, because in most private universities, we can't deny that they might have the lab, they might have the resources to able to gain accreditation for their own institution, but do they actually have the necessary qualified teachers to teach, or lecturers to teach them, or a system that is bent not to satisfy students' needs based on the money that they've paid, but based on having quality education delivery?
That's right. In Kuwait, most of the private schools, I think to be candid, some of them averagely have, outside having the requisite condition to be accredited by NEC and the rest. Most of them have a good lab compared to private. That's the truth. Compared to public. Yes, understand. So aside that lowering education or entry standard, which are supposed to be from JAMB anyway, but the same JAMB has lowered it from 300 mark now to about 160.
Yeah.
Now, understand. So who's encouraging who when it comes to, you see, if the body that's supposed to maintain the standard continue to drop in the standard, then what are we talking about? You understand? So the standard must be there for people to reach grade. Though, you understand, I'm making sure that aside that, if you have issues of leakages of papers and the rest, because you understand. So it's the same bending is to fortify the body that's responsible for such intakes in order to maintain standard. So even if you are going to, because I know that certain mark you will get, JAMB alone will push you to private that have such benchmark. You understand? So it's the same JAMB that does all this. That's why most of the private schools will tell you that you can get admission without coming to JAMB. You understand? Actually, you understand, it does restrict education. Like even when overseas, there's some people sit at home and say, look here, you can shift your exam based on your own way with your lecturer. And shift the exam at when you wanted to do the exam, you do your own exam based on your own volition. But not that the school is restricting that so things. You understand? Because believe education is there's a minimum standard that people in advanced country allow people to achieve their aim through education, which we must understand. We don't restrict people who don't, but the idea now is here that everybody wants to go to school. Whether you are not designed for such particular area of courses, but if you just somebody get humanities, say, I don't have taken a exam for long, let me just get any course. You understand? So all those are not time. That's why it's coming that we are now talking about people who actually doesn't have the interest of the course they are doing. You understand? Somebody will not do somebody because it is, but now that's not withholding other areas where we're supposed to focus on. You know that even in the private institution, public institution, that you want to do your course, I want to do a project. The lecturer will tell that, okay, for me to assign, to just sign your project, you have to pay 400,000. You understand? These are what is happening now. You understand? The lecturers we have now, even in the private sector, are not even matters. Because we are talking about private. Even when the public are not helping matters. Sorry to say that. When the public are not helping matters, because it's like, the economy has now pushed everybody to a level that nobody is looking at standard now. All what you are looking for is for it to exist. And that's where the economy has to come in. The policies have to come in, that making sure that it's not just being in such an environment whereby all you are after is to exist, to function as a human being, and not really giving standard to the system. So we must find a way of making sure that we balance standard to our educational system, and at the same time balance those who are involved in passing such the information to our students in terms of lecturers. You understand? If your university is paying for the federal university is paying a lecturer, a professor, 450,000. And then just increased to about 400,000 now. Before it was 350. Some private are still paying. But though that private sector, most of the private universities, they charge higher, quite agreed. And then this should be able to translate in the other way in terms of emolument for the staffs, for lecturers, so that we're able to have the mindset to deliver. You understand? So all this, you understand, all this boils down to policymakers. And we see must make sure that there's a way, just like national oversight function, making sure that even the private sector university and the public sector area universities have a level playground whereby you monitor people who are lecturers in such universities and making sure that the standard are at maximum. You understand? So that's what I feel that should be.
Speaking of...
So,
okay, you have a question.
I actually have a question based on what he has just explained so far. In as much as I do not want to look at the fact that our educational sector is now becoming, it's not like a business. I want to look into that, but with this CTA actually was an admission bottleneck for young Nigerians, being that the education minister have noted that some private universities are struggling financially. So I want you to explain more. Does Nigeria currently have too many under resource tertiary institutions right now? And is that what they are focusing on, to know which one is more funded and have the capacity to, help the educational system?
When you say more funded, what is the budgetary allocation for education? I understand. Is the federal government ready to increase the budget allocation for education? Look at this budget for education and compare it to that of last year. That is, you see a decline in terms of budgetary allocation. So you are talking about all these things. You understand, the problem is not the issue of the private universities and more of the public university system. The problem is funding. The funding should be increased so that, you understand, and making sure that NUC does their job when it comes to making sure that standards of our institution remain at the level that it's supposed to be. You understand? That's an international level by UNESCO, that for a private university to function. Likewise for the delivery process, as the lecturers who are involved in delivering this education system, what they have to our youth, as those in the institution. So making sure that such things remain at peak, that you don't allow standard to degrade based on human wants and other factors. So for me, the problem is not really, it's all about funding and policies, that making sure that education remains at peak.
Indeed. Part of the agreement or the provision that was signed by the National Executive Council was also to restore the National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult and Non-Formal Education to full independent status. The mandate is to tackle the country's alarming literacy challenges, estimated at over 50 million adults who cannot read or write. So should Nigeria prioritize basic education and literacy before expanding a tertiary education further? So what exactly, why was this included in what was established there? Because it seems from this that we have a growing population, adult population who do not have. Are they also going to contribute to the economic development, or why are we investing in them, and why is it so important that the Executive Council has also included them in this? It
should be that way. I think you understand that you should give a leverage to non-formal sectors, those who wish to acquire education. There was a time, I think that was the Jonathan administration, where he did nomadic education. It's a bit of how many thousands primary education to nomadic children, for instance. And at the end of the day, I think those things are more or less wiped off due to neglect and the rest. So you create education. It's got that even many schools started running what they call the non-formal sector of admission. Many schools, I remember the correspondent unit of University of Lagos started those since that time. They are running a correspondent unit. Understand? At the time now, they are opening a National Open University. Understand? Where you meet in certain days to make sure that those who cannot come through the formal channel have means to understand to acquire the same education. All matters is mindset. Understand? So I think at the end of the day, the only thing is to make sure we harmonize all these other sectors, making sure that the standard remains high. So that if those who want to come through the formal means, or those who want to come through the informal means of acquiring education, the basic thing for you to have is a society where all those who desire education gets it, and without any stress, so that they can contribute to national economy. Because the idea is contributing to national economy, whether you come to the formal sector or informal sector of education. Understand? So that the whole thing is making sure that all these sectors, there's a provision for them to contribute to their own quota to national development. That's the basic.
In other countries, because I'm fascinated by what China does for their own senior citizens, where they have schools where they can, even after their retirement, they have places where they can go learn a certain kind of a qualification. Maybe it's how to speak another language or how to work in another industry, how to do a lot of things. So how can we ensure that the education that we're giving to seniors or the elderly people in the country is not that system that is still reverting back to the problem that we have, where they're not contributing to any economic developments in the country? We're just funding them to have sound mind at the end of the day. So what can we do to ensure that the education that they are receiving is geared towards a better thing for the society, rather than just basically educating them to be able to read, write, and be literate?
You know, there's a saying that when you educate a society, you understand, to educate the entire nation.
Yeah.
And you make sure that by such education, even the people who are educated through this means you are mentioned, also have an employed job or whatever. But the contribution to society, it makes society that understand, makes people, they live in a standard pattern of life, making sure, contributing to that system. It's those who are educated through the system, the elderly ones. When you say, today is education, you have an election, maybe in the next week, they know what is happening. Understand? And when they're going to vote, you see them, you see them overseas, you see them carry walking stick. They limp enter there and do their casting and go out. But yes, someone will tell you, please help me, how do I complain? You understand? It's just because of what I'm talking about. So by the time you start doing those things, it's kind of that you are pulling them out of that old system, nuclear environment, that making exactly. So when we educate a society, irrespective of those age, the age bracket, in short, you are making the system to easily be governed. You understand? It's quite governing such people, it's quite the mindset is already that they know who to vote when it comes to election. They contribute to their quota, knowing that this person has a policy that takes care of the entire system. Unlike the person who is not the uneducated mind, doesn't know. That's how some people are being used today as thugs. You understand? They are being used today by politicians. But when you have the educated mind, you cannot, as you are, someone cannot come and give you 10,000 naira to sell your 8 years or 4 years. Because you already know that your children are their education and everything is at stake. So you understand? So educated mind makes sure that society functions normal when you have educated people in society. So that's it should be when you're educating people, you don't look at the immediate benefits. Look at the long-term benefit.
Well, but I'll take a devil's advocate. I said some educated people will still say they're vote for 500 or a bag of rice, not even a bag, a model of rice, a cup of rice, however, a cup of rice, because I believe that education alone is not supposed to be get towards how to read and write or solve complex issues and all of that. It should also be geared towards nation building. What's its important? Patriotism, civic education, governance. Those are areas that we need to look at. So if we're building a society where we're educating people, they know how to read, they know how to write, they can build technology, but they're not patriotic. They're not people who can look at the country and say, this is what I should do. So those are other areas of education that we need to really prioritize so that we are solving the nation's problem, not contributing to it. But before I ask the last question, I want to touch on the issue that you raised about JAM, the institution saddled with the responsibility of conducting examinations for entrance into tertiary institutions. There has been conversation around the validity of the examination that students take. It's usually lasted for a year period, and people have asked, this is an agency, just like you mentioned, that is not supposed to be remitting money to the government, and they are declaring that they've made so amount of money and they are remitting it. It's good, it's fine, it's been transparent. God knows what they've been doing in the last how many years that they've not been remitting, and they've been stealing. And I mean, there's an EFCC case against the board and some other top financial brass in the agency that are still being they're still facing the scrutiny of the investigation from Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. But back to the students, to reduce the strain on them having to write it every year. Perhaps they've written in a particular year, they're not getting what they want in a particular university. Perhaps a certain course that they want to do is not available, or they are not able to accredit as many students as possible. So they should be able to use that same result again in the next 1 year, the next 2 years. If you can use your WAEC's result for, eternity, is the JAM entrance results that you wrote, beg your pardon, the UTM entrance results you wrote, does it end after 1 year? Because even the conversation has been about even this English proficiency exam that we write to attend universities abroad. I write it, it's been written this year, and next year you tell me that I can't use it again. Did I forget all the English that I know how to speak last year? Nigeria is an English speaking nation. So back to JAMB itself, if students can learn and write and pass, does that mean that they've forgotten everything they've learned over a year?
Yes. In short, if you write and pass, because the idea of self-examining and academically examining your intelligence is based on immediate, not what you put at your educational database. So the idea is that if you read well this year, and you can be able to go and deliver in an exam conducted by JAMB, then you know that some people, after the first attempt, and they make it 300, the second attempt, they're going to get 150, 120. You understand? Because of the criteria. There's the old criteria, and understand. If you're writing 2 JAMB, but I've known somebody, a friend, I think the son of one of my friends, he decided he was given zoology in the University of Ibadan. He did the second one. He said his aim is medicine. This second one was given botany. He said medicine. And he promised his father that, look, I'm going to get it. In short, the third one, he got above the benchmark. You understand? And when he went to school, the guy had graduated. And when he was going to tell the father, look here, if there are 5 people in that faculty, there are only 5 are part of it. And he maintained it. So if you are intelligent, which is supposed to remain standard at a particular time. Not that at this year they are lowering the benchmark for you so that you'll be able to get entrance. That's why you see some people there, when they get there, because of the way they take the process of entry, they go out there and join the other society, join court and everything, and see the place as a jamboree because of the mindset before coming there. So actually, our institution should be your mind frame should be ready that you want to go and make it. And not a share where I just want to have a degree certificate, which is what is happening now. People just believe that, and then we pass through the system without the system passing through them. They pass through the system. Today, somebody could see somebody, your institution, a person who is an undergraduate, they cannot measure up to standard because of we continue to lower the standard.
Even graduates. I don't know what standard for them. Even graduates struggle.
Yes, so it's all about the mindset and the system, not maintaining a playground that's supposed to be for proper policy making for education to thrive. Yes, and we bend systems, and that's what's happening in this area of the world. We need to bend systems to make sure that we factor in saying that these bodies continue to exist, JAMB continue to exist, doing the same thing every year. You understand? So the idea for it we must take a leap. Our system is supposed to be progressive, not you understand. That's what we are doing now is nosediving. When it comes to our education policies, they are no longer standard again. So it's all about policy making and system.
So still on policy making and coordination and also the oversight. You talked about the NC, the regulatory agency, and also the Ministry of Education. I believe also as well the National Assembly, the committee in charge of the education in the country, should also contribute. They should not only perform oversight, they should look at what can be reformed in this education sector in the country. They should also advocate for more money to, I understand it's the ministry that bring the budgetary, that does the budgetary analysis and bring it to the National Assembly to be accepted. But I believe that all hands must be on deck to see what can we do to improve the quality of education that Nigerians are receiving. Affordability as well is a concern. Availability of courses that people want to study is also a concern. So how can we ensure that we bring in different stakeholders into the system, even if we have communities, agencies, religious institutions that can also contribute to the development of institutions in the country? What can they do rather than putting money to fund some things that are not necessary to or geared towards national developments? What can we do to ensure that different regulatory agencies, also the National Assembly, and as well the larger community of ordinary citizens, what can they do to ensure that all hands are on deck to improve the quality education?
There should be a self-assessment mechanism, even within the schools, the institutions itself. Because a lot of things are happening in our institution, which the schools authority, or let me call it school senate, put an eye out of. Seeing that it doesn't concern them. That is part of the system. When you see, when let me say, it's professor that is handling a project for final year student, he start to say, look here, if you should go and bring 700,000 for me to assent to your project. You understand? It's all part of the decades we're talking about. My own supervisor at that time told me that we should go to Akure, Federal University Akure, that I should go and get a project done by previous past year students. He told me that you can get 500 naira, or even 1,000. The person
what year was that?
I'm telling you, that is 2013.
Oh.
My son, my son was telling me I should go and get it accurate, that you can even give me a Thomas, you should go and get it, that is just how much? That with 1,000 naira to get the project. I said, no, I don't believe in I'm going to do my own special project, designed by me and funded by me. And I did the project, which one of the car makers in Nigeria, but it's what they call it's alert system, bet alert system. But this one talks. He has a voice that talks to the system. They bought it for 3 million, but without me, the others know. I don't really know what when it comes issue of patents. So I know they just bought it from me.
Oh.
But at the end of the day, my supervisor was happy. He said, this is the first time in this institution somebody is doing this particular project. He was happy being part of it. But this is the same man who told me I should go and buy it and replicate it back in our son. So it's because we continue to, what of us, reshuffle an old system without growing. Nobody wants to task him or herself when it comes to technical education, making sure that we progress. That's the idea of education. Education is supposed to be something that you are challenged, always being challenged to produce the best. And the system will be there, nowhere to support your idea, making sure that such things is something that drives in the technical system. Because what drives most our advanced world these days is technology. When I was here, I was watching a program before I came in. You understand? It's technology that advanced. We're talking about robotic,
so humanoid robots.
That's what should drive people. People should be able to make things that will function. Not to really relying on natural resources. The area of natural resources is going.
It's going.
Japan don't have any natural resources. One single. But today the economy is one of the standard economy, best economy that's thriving. So it's not there. No. So the idea that, in short, it should be that the system must rely on technical areas where you have competitive advantage over others. And that's how it's supposed to be. Not that everybody wants to go to market, everybody wants to produce. Yes, there are people who must be in the production sector. There are also people who should be in the research sector. All this grows hand in hand, not just boxing ourselves into a particular system, making sure that we there and complain. Nothing moves on. So like I said, the National Assembly, the Committee on Education, like I said, must find a way, making sure that aside from visitations, the schools itself must have an internal check for itself and making sure that the systems function before you even bring NUC in or whatever, the Committee on Information. Because what did they do at school? They go and establish one building, third fund, 2023, third fund, 2024. These are buildings you see in our institutions, and this is where the project goes. Because of what? All about corruption. You install buildings you put under third fund. not functions. The school system.
The buildings themselves are not even equipped to the necessary facilities. It's just painted outside and
put it there to 2023, finish. You see it all over the places. So it's not it. They should do beyond this by making sure that we deliver quality education.
Indeed. Thank you very much for your contribution this morning. We've been speaking to our senior in-house analyst, Chris Ejiofor, who has been dissecting the important news that we brought to you this morning about the Executive Council's ban on a six-year ban on the establishment of new academic institutions, higher academic institutions in the country. Well, that's as much we can take on the discussion segments this morning. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll go to what's trending. Stay with us.
Advanced cybersecurity with AI and quantum resistance. Cyber threats are growing as fast as the technology protecting against them. In 2023, the U.S. saw over 3,200 reported ransomware incidents, according to the FBI's IC3 report, a 74% increase from the year before. AI-driven cybersecurity tools are now being trained to spot anomalies in real time, identifying breaches before they spread. At the same time, researchers are developing quantum-resistant encryption. The U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, has already selected new post-quantum cryptographic algorithms, preparing for a world where quantum computers could break today's encryption in seconds.
Welcome back. You're still on Idea Morning Digest on Idea Television. Now we move on to what's trending. And moving on to our first story, Nigeria's World Cup hopes dashed as FIFA upholds Democratic Republic of Congo sports. And later on, we're going to be looking at outrage over suspension of cleric who criticized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. First on our story, the World Football Governing Body, FIFA, has confirmed the final lineup for the Confederation Playoff Tournament, officially naming Democratic Republic of Congo as Africa's sole representative, a decision that effectively ends Nigeria's hope of qualifying for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The confirmation was contained. It's aimed at overturning the result and securing a place for the Super Eagles in the Intercontinental Playoffs. The decision effectively ended Nigeria's hopes of qualifying for the tournament after the Super Eagles lost to Congo and DR in the African playoff, and their subsequent protests failed to alter the outcome. Well, this is a sad development this morning. I saw it this morning and I was very sad, and I'm sure a lot of Nigerian enthusiasts and supporters of football in the country are also grieving right now this morning, because we had high hopes when it comes to inclusion to participate in the international playoffs after being defeated in our last when it comes to the African continent, and we launched a complaint to tell FIFA that actually Congo fielded somebody who is not supposed to be fielded in the match that led to their own success and what they have right now. So we thought that the process was being made, and as at yesterday we were expecting a response from them, but we didn't get any response as at yesterday. But early this morning the news broke that they've actually gone ahead to release, as we've seen, the list of the international playoffs, and Nigeria is not included. So, for some Nigerians, I was speaking to a friend yesterday who said even though we succeeded here, we played the international playoff, we're still not going to win because we're not getting our things right. But it just it's very painful for most Nigerians. It's been circulating, the news has been circulating widely on social media, and Ghana is actually having a time of their life right now to actually see, because it's always the competition between Nigeria and Ghana, the West African borders. These are things that we use for banter against one another. So Nigeria is in for a long run for the banter, but let's continue to see if it's going to be still overturned, if the decision has yet to be taken, if this can actually still be revised to see how Nigeria can contribute or participate in the international playoffs. But for now, there's really little hope for the country to participate in the international playoff, or even eventually at the World Cup in North America.
It's actually a sad one. But I'm not a sports.
I understand. But you must, as a patriotic Nigerian, it must really be concerning for you.
I just pray, like you said, that they should have a rethink about it and include Nigerians. When I hear go,
the way you said it.
when I hear we won, it's actually exciting to
it's
see
exciting.
that,
It's a,
you know,
it reduces the blood pressure of most Nigerians. At least it would have given us an opportunity to at least shift focus away from our challenges in the country and support our super egos and see what they can achieve at the international playoffs and hopefully at the World Cup itself.
Let us forget some of the troubling things giving us headache in the country.
In the country.
And secondly, football is one of the sports that brings everybody together, irrespective of your tribe, your culture, your religion. Everybody is one at that point. You see the excitement, and also I believe this news is going to sadden a lot of people. Many of them are going to be saddened with the news, but they are watching. They are always on social media. Even the decision makers are also on social media, so they will see the grievance, the sadness in people's faces and their comments as they are reading. So I just believe they'll have a change of heart so that Nigerians would be inclusive. And so that Mr. Wales will be very, very happy.
You said a change of mind. I hope. The way you put it, it sounds like though we were deprived of something illegally. But let's move on to the next story this morning. Yobe State has been thrown into controversy after the leadership of Jama'atu Izalati Bida wa Ikmati Sunnah Jos faction suspended the prominent Islamic cleric Sheikh Al-Khali Abubakar Salisu Zaria from delivering his Ramadan exegesis text interpretation at Mokak Mosque in Damaturu. The suspension followed a sermon in which Sheikh Al-Khali openly criticized Ahmed Tinubu, Northwest governors and corrupt officials over the worsening insecurity in the region. The suspension came after a meeting convened by the national chairman of the Jibwis Council of Ulama, Mohammed Sani Yahya Jingir, which included the cleric as well as stated local representatives of the group in Yobe. According to insiders, Sheikh Al-Khali was accused of using strong-worded statements against certain individuals in the region, as well as the president, addressing insecurity in a manner inconsistent with the organization's established methodology. During his sermons, Sheikh Al-Khali condemned kidnappings, banditry, and the lack of political will from state leaders. He warned of a society paralyzed by fear of powerful figures. Well, the social media has been agog about the suspension of this man because on the surface it seems as though this is a man who has been silenced because he criticized the highest body and the state and majorly the political leaders. But if you look at the context of what he was speaking, perhaps the tone was different and not consistent with the religious body that he belongs to, and perhaps the platform itself was not a means that they want to use to also say that. But when it comes to the context of what he was saying, this man has a valid point. He's talking about the issue of banditry, the issue about insecurity in the country, kidnapping. So if we have people in religious institutions who are speaking up and they are being silenced, what more of an ordinary person who is just on social media saying their thing? So these are people that we want them to be able to speak truth to power, and get the attention, because I say this has been able to get the attention of necessary agency and authorities who must have reached out to the group and tell them that you can't have this person speaking in such manner. I am of the opinion that whatever way we couch our words should be civil, should be respectful of the necessary authority. But the idea that authorities cannot be challenged or be questioned or be asked to be responsible or be responsive to the people's needs should not be taken away, and his freedom of expression, freedom of his own opinion, and his association, according to the group that he belonged to, is being threatened by his own opinion about the issue of the country. And for every Nigerian that whoever is talking about the issue of the country, the deplorable state of our security status in the country should not be penalized for speaking their mind, because this is an issue that affects everybody. The people that suspend him today, who knows if they're going to be victim of any security challenge tomorrow, and they will wonder perhaps if we would allow this man to speak up and challenge the authorities, to question them for their incapacity and to question them for their ineffectiveness in response to security challenges. Perhaps all of this will have been able to rouse their own emotion and also allow the government to sit tight and do what's needful for the country. But lastly, the freedom of speech is enshrined in our constitution. Everybody has the right, but the way we express our thought and opinion should be modeled in a fashion that is that is I'm trying as much as possible not to sound as though we want to be pleasing in our words, or we want to use words that just romanticize our security challenges. While we should be firm, which he has shown, we must also ensure that we use language that not vengeful, language that that doesn't sound threatening to the higher authorities, because the things that we say, they might count that as threatening, but the threatening situation that we are facing, they count that as issues that they can just respond to as they like.
If you speak, you die. If you don't speak, you still die. Somebody said, so it's good to speak. If you have the platform, you should say your mind, because these issues going on in this country are not making anybody comfortable. It's making homes uncomfortable. It's making individuals very, very uncomfortable. Business are being threatened. Your life is being threatened. You do not have peace of mind. You cannot go out and be 100% certain that you get to your location in peace without hearing here or there. If you're not being kidnapped on the way, these people with knives would want to nap you, collect things from you and all that. So the issues going on in this country is enough for somebody to be angry and speak out of anger because of the way he or she is feeling it. I'm not encouraging that we should not speak in a civil way. I'm not encouraging that we should not watch what we are saying. But to pet the issue is not the solution to the problem. I believe he was speaking out of the pains.
The frustration.
The frustration, the way the country is frustrating people's efforts, the way he's seeing people crying on the street. Government are saying all these things. If they feel individuals or people that have the platform should not come out and speak to them the way they don't like, they should do the needful. People are not saying they're working. They are hearing the government. They're not seeing what the government is doing. You don't expect them to be happy. You don't expect them to come and pet words with you, sound in a way that would make you comfortable. For how long are we going to be sounding in a way that will make the government comfortable, and at the end of the day, we're not getting what we want? That's why you're seeing protests here and there, because we're tired listening, we're tired sitting down, and it's looking like we're not doing anything. So people are using their platforms now to speak, because we know that everybody, no matter how little your phone is, you are on social media. And social media is a platform where you get to thousands of people, no matter their location, no matter the country they are. They'll definitely log in, they'll definitely see your videos. That's why people now have the opportunity to go on social media and voice out and say their mind. So personally, I don't think he did anything wrong. Maybe the tone of his voice was not well placed. Maybe he spoke out of line. But that should be considered as him being angry over what's happening in the country. Nobody will be pleased at what is happening and feel like, or if things are going right, nobody will come out and want to speak against the government or against the leaders or against the president himself. It's because things are not being organized the way it should. That's why you see people coming out to speak out their minds. And for Christ's sake, we have freedom of speech. I'm not saying the freedom of speech should be misused, but I'm saying that in as much as there is freedom of speech, they should take the relevant things the person have said and leave the irrelevant ones, because if things are put in place, this person will not come out and start speaking.
Indeed, if things are put in place, we will not have many people criticizing the government, but criticism is part of the system of democratic dispensation that we run in this country. So we must allow criticism from everybody as long as they are well crafted and civil in our own agitation. But that's as much as we can take this morning on what's trending. You can follow the conversation on our social media platforms, sharing your thoughts and catching up with us with this segment and previous episodes on our digital channels. Up next, let's look at the weather reports, and we'll come back and end the show on proper. All right. Hello, everyone. Get ready for this new announcement. The Idea Television Research Institute of Interest is about to launch a powerful celebration of African Research Institutes, fueling innovation, entrepreneurship, and real impact where it matters most for the continent. Mark your calendars. First edition drops on the 6th of March 2026. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Adewale Olashopon. From all of us here, I have a productive day ahead. But before we go, I've been chatting this morning with my important counterpart in the Ojubajo. She's been wonderful this morning, and thank you for being a part of the conversation. To all important audience all around the world, thank you for being a part. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe.